What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 56?
I think so.
Something like that. High 50s of the Parents and Professors podcast. In this episode, we're breaking down the paradox. Healthy co-parenting makes you more attractive, but it also intimidates some people.
Seriously, like thinking about jealousy, how that could be a red flag. The fact that everybody's ex is a narcissist and we shouldn't get along is all a problem, and we're going to get into it today.
Plus, we need to talk about when it's right to introduce your new partner to your kids and whether or how people have an opportunity to do that or not.
So join us for another conversation about dating, boundaries, and what it means to maintain your standards.
Yo, parents, yo, parents, yo, parents and professors. Yo, parents, yo, parents, yo, parents and professors.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Parents and Professors podcast. I'm Dr. Marjorie Dorimé-Williams.
I am Dr. Michael Stephen Williams.
And like we said, we're going to be talking about not just dating, but in this particular context, dating around co-parenting. And so we know that this is a topic that doesn't necessarily get a lot of attention, particularly when we think about positive co-parenting.
Yeah, because most people are not positive co-parents. Yeah, and most people hate their exes in a way that blinds them to the needs of their children.
Yeah. So we definitely want to make sure that we explore that and unpack that a little bit more. And before we dive in, as usual, we want to give our disclaimer. Everything we talk about on our podcast is informed by research, publicly available information, or our own personal experiences. The views we share are our own and are intended for informational and entertainment purposes only.
Yeah, that's right. We're not your therapists. We're not your lawyers. We're just two people who happen to be professors and parents and have figured a little something out about this co-parenting thing.
Yeah. So thinking about co-parenting and dating, I think one of the things that's really interesting for me when we get into it is when you're, and I think the assumption is also, I think for us at this point is like, okay, we've got our stuff figured out. So what does it look like to introduce new people into this dynamic? And I think that it's really important to think about fit and like who can fit that space, because everyone is not
Who's fit?
built for this.
I don't know that you're actually concerned about, and we've had the beginnings of this conversation on a couple of different occasions, because I think that there's some unbalance in like your perception of fit and like my perception of fit.
Oh,
Yeah. So because your goals have changed in terms of like what you're looking for in a relationship. So before, when you first started dating after we were getting divorced,
okay.
you were kind of more looking for like a marriage partner.
Okay.
And now that you've kind of settled into what works for you now, that's cool, but that doesn't serve me because I'm remarried. And so I'm remarried. I have more money for us to come into this situation. I have more resources actually come in this direction. Like your situation isn't necessarily serving me. And
That sounds like a problem.
that's what I'm saying. So if we're gonna talk about it, let's actually talk about it.
Okay, hold on. So yes, but that feels like a whole other conversation, because I think about the fact that you're right. Where I am now is much less about family fit as it is fit with me.
Yeah,
but
that's what I'm saying.
Wait.
Your perception of fit is different than my perception.
But there's still overlapping those things. And so I mean, because we were just talking. So I was dating someone and having a good time, good conversation. They were cute and little, heart face emoji text, and like it was like a whole thing. And I'm like, okay, maybe this person also divorced, co-parenting, generally okay, like they're not us, but generally okay. Like they weren't.
They have a reasonable relationship,
right? Like
not a red flag.
It wasn't a red flag.
Okay.
Like their relationship with their co-parents is probably neutral. Like that's probably the best way to describe
Yellow flag.
So,
but not red.
Right, but not red. But then it came to the point where, and in fact, podcast is a great example. I would say, hey, I can't talk right now. I'm about to go head over and record the podcast with my co-parent. Oh, well, why do y'all do that?
Oh, you're talking about that spot. Oh,
yeah,
I know that. We codenamed this person Fuss.
Fuss. He just wanted to fuss with me for no reason. And I'd be like, I think this is actually a good example of why we do what we do, because most people aren't co-parenting the way we co-parent. But like anytime it involved you or the kids or like something that, or the research team even, it was constantly like, well, what are you doing? And is that all y'all are doing? Or are you sure you're not, insert other things here? And it was like, I'm having to spend so much time and energy and effort making you feel comfortable that like this isn't even fun. It's not fun or enjoyable. And so I think for me, that was a really important indicator of, oh, when I'm dating, I can't just date. Like for me, I have to think about my context, my situation, right? And that's a part of who I am. My co-parenting with you is a part of who I am.
Yeah. I think you're right. And I see it. I understand where you're at while also like recognizing that there's a difference in the way that I approach it, because I think even with Donna, like as we were remarried, as the new wife, you still have a lot to figure out about like what feels comfortable and what feels right as well. And I think that for me, one of the things that I think I did wrong in the early stages of me and Donna's relationship was I wasn't 100% sure what me and your relationship was going to be like. So I couldn't communicate to her what I was feeling, or even as I was healing. And like, I desired to be around you more. And like, oh, we're still in business together. We still run our research team together. We still do all this other stuff. And so if she's creating a picture in her head that, okay, you guys are no longer divorced and you get along, your co-parents, but you're kind of in your opposite corners, versus like, no, your ex-wife is still very much incorporated into our life.
I'm walking to the front door any day.
Exactly. And like, you're literally like, if for people who my context is Seinfeld, like you're Kramer, like you just be showing up in the crib, like
be Jazz.
No, because it's not. I mean, well, Kramer's racist and all that shit, but like but you're no, because Jazz is different. Because Jazz is like, you're much smarter than Jazz. You actually add to the conversation, and you never get tossed out. Like that's true. But I think where we are now, as it relates to you and your role in my life with my wife, with my new child, your goddaughter, with our kids, is very different than I think Donna probably thought she was signing up for to begin with. And so even in the place where you're repartnered, even if you're at a point where you don't, this isn't negotiable now, like we're married, but it's still a learning process. And so I think the point still stands that you have to figure out what fit means for your relationship. And if I know that me and Donna would not survive if I felt like I couldn't be the father and the co-parent that I need to be. But it's still growing pains. Like there's still going to be growing pains. There's still going to be like figuring out like what works, what doesn't work. And so having somebody who sees you and understands you and also believes that you have the best intentions. Like I'm not a person who,
right.
It's very difficult for me to deal with somebody who's questioning me constantly.
It's exhausting. Like it makes me not want to talk to you. And so, right. And I can only imagine how frustrating that might be for anyone, right? Where you're in a situation where you're newly partnered and you're having to go between these combinations of, you want to reassure your partner, like, yeah, like we're good and we're solid. I think for me, it all points to like why it's so important to create stable foundations.
Yeah.
And I think at least for us, one of those things has always been the kids, right? Like what's in the best interest of the kids, the big kids. And then when Maya came along, like all three of the kids. And so I think that also helped us all adjust maybe more quickly than we would have if we weren't keeping them center. And so now, like anybody coming into this dating situation with me has got to understand, like I co-parent, I have kids, I have 2 kids and a bonus kid. Like my life has a certain structure to it. And if you're uncomfortable with that, then like this is never going to work.
Yeah. And I think that what you might not realize is that because you've been through relationships and you've had an opportunity to rehearse that, you're better at it now too.
Yes.
So like you can communicate up front. You can start to surface whether or not somebody's going to fit into this situation earlier because you know what to say. And you'd be like, hey, I am very close to my ex-husband / co-parent.
Right. No, door.
Yeah. Like
we just,
you will see us together. We go to conferences together. We are building a business together. We're doing all these things where we're going to be in close contact with each other.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing to worry about. He's remarried and he has a child. That child is my goddaughter. But if you're not okay with that,
that's cool too.
Yeah, then we need to.
It's so I was watching Love Is Blind.
Oh,
so I was behind like season, but I want to say there are a couple things that like I get excited about when I see on the show.
Mhm.
And so in the latest season, there's a single dad. So he's like, you know, I would meet people and we date, and then they find out I have a kid, and it's like,
Why
right.
aren't you leading with that?
And that's what I'm saying. So in the show, he mentioned like, I'm going to be leading with this. And I feel so just to get to what
Yeah.
you're saying, it's like, yeah, like I lead with, you know, I'm a mom, I'm divorced, I'm happily co-parenting. My co-parent and I have a business together. You know, like these are things that are, and you know what, too, I can understand if that's not for you, because it's not for everybody. Like
Yeah.
everybody isn't built for this.
Yeah.
And so it's not a judgment, but I also don't appreciate the expectation that like, or the assumption that we have to be at war, or that
Yeah.
there must be some kind of drama. And if there isn't, that's suspicious.
Yeah, but also like think about how draining that is. Like think about how draining it would be to have to be at war with a person that you share responsibilities for. Like that's dumb.
It does.
And I don't. I think while recognizing that everybody kind of has to be on their own healing journey, I do think that the goal of anybody who's divorced and co-parenting, or like anybody who's divorced and they share responsibility for their children,
Mhm.
it should be to get to a place where we're happy and we're healthy and we're whole and we can talk to each other like human beings, not that we're living in whatever the trauma is that separated us.
And that we don't ever move on from that, because that's the thing too. It's so interesting to meet people who are like, you know, divorced for shit. We're almost, is it not quite 10, 8, 7,
What,
6,
six?
7.
6 seconds.
Um,
Oh my god, you did that bullshit in the other joint. Yeah, stop doing it. And
I'm sorry.
kick you in.
Sorry, I'm done. I will let it go. But the fact that people who have been divorced so much longer and still holding on to like all of that,
Because my question to those people, and you know, hopefully some of them are listening and we're providing
or
a
like,
bit of help.
yeah, leave us notes in the comments.
Yeah,
Let us know what y'all think.
like I would want to know what you get from it. Like, what does that, other than ego satisfaction, what do you get from staying at war with your baby moms or your baby dads? Like, it doesn't actually make sense. It's just draining.
I think so. When you're in it, I can understand that, and I'm probably not a good person. I know I'm not a good person to answer this question because I can't sustain that level of like anger or vitriol or whatever. But it's definitely the like, I'm right, that person is wrong. I'm justified in my anger, in my hurt, in my whatever those negative emotions are. And I think sometimes people
People try to do that even when they're the wrong. Like, they're the offending party, which is nuts.
yo, different pod. That's a different. It's a different pod.
But I think that that's important to sit with, because part of what you're modeling for your kids in your relationship with your co-parent is what a healthy collaborative relationship should look like.
Mhm.
And if you can't do that, or if you've convinced yourself for your egocentric reasons that that's not important to do, then you're actually setting a bad example for your children as well. Like, what are they going to do? Like, you're going to, oh, this person's just not my friend anymore because we had a disagreement. Like, I'm going to, right? Like that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. And
I'm triggered.
yeah, like,
Well, you know, I also think, and not just internally, for me, but also what it says about a person and how they talk about their ex. And this doesn't have to just be marriage. Like I think exes in general.
oh yeah, like the co-parenting books.
Yeah, right. Everybody's ex is a narcissist.
Yeah.
But
I recognize where you're going, or at least I'd be interested if you're going the same way that I'm thinking about, because those labels allow people to not take credit for their contribution to whatever didn't work.
right, and exactly, so that you know it's always the other person's fault, and the other person is always in the wrong. And you know, I have been on dates where people sound really crazy when they talk about their former partners, and not to say that there aren't like, you know,
Oh, there's some nuts.
issues. Like, well,
Yeah, nuts.
I'm not saying that that's not
to
okay.
say that there aren't people that are nuts.
I'm not saying that, but I do think that like, you know, how you communicate about someone, whoever they are, like says a lot about you as a person, right? And if, you know, we're on a date and I ask you, you know, oh, so why did your last relationship end? Like that's an easy, you know,
Yeah.
getting to know somebody.
Get off the backboard for you.
Right.
Like,
And it's
you
like,
know what? I just wasn't mature enough to really love her the way that she needed. And I feel like I've been
we had a disagreement, or like they wanted X and I wanted Y. I was like, oh, this bitch was crazy and I couldn't trust her. And when you probe sometimes, it's like,
Yeah, like what part of this are you taking credit for? Is this just that you're a jealous person? Is it just that are you doing to them what you're doing to me, young fuss? Because if you are, then I get why this wasn't going to work.
it's like,
And
oh,
I need
he's so problematic.
Yeah, you need not sign up for that. But I think that that's like, so even in the, I laugh because the reference point that I have in my mind right now is Stefan Diggs and Cardi B. And Stefan Diggs has 2 women pregnant at the same time, but he was giving Cardi B the sweet talk, like, I just want to heal you, girl.
Oh,
Like-
because her album. Her album.
Oh yeah, the shot. Offset returned fire. He has a little.
Does he?
Yeah, he has a little Halloween album that's worth listening to because in it he says like, "How I'm the crazy one. We still married and you pregnant with another man's child."
That's kind of wild.
Yeah, they're not divorced yet. She's fully pregnant.
I'm married?
Yes, they are not legally divorced yet. Yeah, it's wild. But yeah,
That's a great example.
that's exactly what I was talking about. Like, wow, this is quite nuts.
Spicy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But and even then, right? I don't typically follow a lot of that, like in the general sense, but I think it's a good example of how relationships are messy and people hurt each other in relationships. And like, for Cardi to be like, oh, like it's just him, or for him to be like, it's just her. It's like there's probably more to this than either of you are willing to admit.
There's plenty of blame to go around, and I know we end up here in almost every conversation at some point, but like it really is communication. There's so many things that I learned that you thought after we were married that I was like, that makes no sense to me, and I can't believe you thought that.
Oh yeah,
and like
yeah.
This makes way more sense. Like,
yeah, it's like, oh, I've never heard you say that before, which is I think also interesting because we've known each other for
almost 20 years.
Almost 20 years now, yeah. And we're still having conversations where it's like, oh, like that's an interesting perspective, or
we have conversation.
I'm glad to hear this because I have never heard you say that.
Well, you've never asked me that. Like,
so, I think that there's a need to just like take responsibility for the fact that we're also learning how to communicate and how to do this. And like, we don't get taught how to be a mature, responsible adult in a relationship or person in a relationship, right? Like you do a lot of figuring out as you go. I think particularly for folks who are like our age and up.
Yeah.
My parents didn't
because you're
talking to me about relationships.
Your parents are so opaque. So,
That's a good word.
You grew up with 2 parents in a household and you had no idea what they thought about each other or like the state of their marriage, except for like the things that you could kind of pick up.
I thought when I was younger that my dad was in charge and my mom just did whatever he said. And
then you learned as you got older.
But that they were like doing it. And that was like,
yeah.
Right. And like, that was it.
Yeah. That's all you kind of know. I feel like it's different because I grew up in a single parent household and all I had in terms of my understanding of my mom and dad's relationship is what my mom told me.
Right.
And that was not good. And to the point that in hindsight, the way that my mom talked about my dad, like he wasn't a child of God, made me question. Like I wasn't, but I can think about it now, and I'd be like, "Yo, why would you want to be married to somebody like that? Like, or why would you want to have kids with somebody like that? If this is what you thought, yeah. And so I think part of the difficulty that I have, and I know that it's much easier when you're in the situation, right? So I am the new husband that has an ex-wife. There are some things that should be explicit and clear to begin with. Like, you shouldn't be sweating me about whether or not I think my ex-wife is attractive. If I didn't think she was attractive, I married her. I married her and I had 2 kids. Right. And so like you're making me say things that should be obvious out loud, which is, and like what's going to benefit from that, right? Like what's the benefit? And only in so much as, hey, if this is something I need to be honest about or truthful about. So like, an example that I would give is that you were talking to Travers the other day. Scholar shout out Christopher Travers. New congratulations, sir, on getting a tenure track faculty gig at the University of Maryland. Everybody's extremely proud of you and we love you. But he's somebody who I value having conversations with, and we're just laughing because he's wearing a turtleneck. He's looking like he's out trying to catch something. He's a young single cat. And I'm like, I see you with the muscles in the turtleneck. Don't you like you clearly on the conference on some Pokemon, right? Like, what, you trying to catch a ball? And so that engages. We end up having a conversation. He's telling me the person that he's targeting. Oh, by the way, my nigga, she's married. So you that's it.
Oh.
Yeah, you missed your window, and it's recent. I learned, but I'll text you. But it's funny to me because like he has a type.
Yeah.
Right? And I was like, oh, here you go again.
That's
I was like, it's clearly your type.
Oh, because we have the yes.
Yeah.
And we had the conversation about, people, whether we mean to or not, we often have types. And so in
You
that
go-
conversation,
yeah,
I said, yeah, my type is like big, bald, bearded black dudes. Like I that's what I like.
Yeah, you said it more succinctly. You're like, Mike is my type. Like I'm looking for like, and I'm like, yo, that makes sense because I could recognize too, and I think that attraction is something that evolves over the course of your life.
Yeah.
Like I know that when I was young, the social image of what I wanted to be partnered with was always a Black or Latina woman, preferably with big breasts, and like that was the like, hey, this is kind of like my type. Like, this is what I'm looking for. Like, if you tripped and found Mike with somebody that looked a certain way, and I know that like being with you made my type expand. So like, I can look at somebody that looks like my wife and be like, oh, that was my original type. Like,
Yes.
but now if somebody passes that looks like you, I'm like, right? Like that'll turn my head in a way that it wouldn't before.
Previously, yeah.
Yeah, just because it's like, okay, like you can come to appreciate different things, and I think that that's for the same reason. It's like, yo, like why do I have to explain it to you? Or what you like, yo, if you're gonna be suspicious of me, I'm attractive. I don't like don't. I could have inappropriate relationships with anybody that I run into.
Like
why would you?
yes. And I think too, and I was having a conversation with a friend who, like, we were talking about the fact that, like, we're adults, and at the end of the day, like, you can't stop somebody from doing what they want to do. Like,
Yeah.
they just are.
Yeah, that's
And so if you can't establish like even a minimum level of, I guess, trust, like,
yeah, in our research work, we would call it psychological safety.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
I like that. Right, that hey, I'm engaging in this with you, and I can trust that, I will be safe in this space, in this relationship.
Yeah.
Or, if something is gonna pop off, like at least you'll say something, or whatever your dynamic is, right?
Yeah.
Or like whether you're dating exclusively or you're not dating exclusively. Like I think so much of the challenge in communicating is that we're not explicit about the things that we want or mean or need.
Sadly, I learned how to be explicit from divorce.
I mean, yes, it's like open your mouth and say the thing.
Yeah, but I think it's even that. It's, I could think that I'm being clear and I'm being explicit about what I want from you as a partner as it relates to communication in our marriage. But it wasn't until things went wrong that I was like, oh, there's all these conversations we didn't have, or there's all these invisible assumptions that we allow to fester between us that don't really surface themselves until you're mature enough to have that conversation.
Yeah.
So like now, we talk about this all the time. Like me and you get over whatever kind of disagreements that we have way faster than we did when we were married. One, because we weren't having as many as we should have, because one or the other would just eat it.
Right.
Like, oh, like that's just how Marjorie is, or like, oh, that's just how Mike is, or like he's just expressed his preference, and so like I'm not going to try to go against that but like what you realize, and I think it's one of the things that I bring that's unique and powerful to my relationship with my wife now, is that, hey, I might have said something even a month ago. I don't mean that anymore. And as soon as I recognize that, I'm coming to you with it. Like, hey, I know I said this, but actually it's more like this. And like, can we adjust?
Mhm.
And that I would much rather create open space for evolution in the relationship and be able to revisit conversations and revisit situation and revisit ideas with the goal of us being closer and resolving problems faster and more comprehensively than do the silent assume, but and so there's a piece that I'll give patience for. So like somebody like Fuss, he's just too much, right? Like that's over the top.
Yeah,
but
this is not gonna work.
But I do think it's valuable and important for a new partner to be able to express whatever doubts, concerns, questions they have. It just can't be all we do.
Right.
Like, and it can't be like, hey, I answered your questions. Like we should, at a certain point, you shouldn't have these questions anymore.
Yeah. Or if it's a different question or a different circumstance, I could understand that. But it really was like the same thing over and over again. And then it'd be like radio silence and like not talking to me for like days at a time. I was like, I'm too old.
Like I'm not chasing for this.
I'm too old.
You don't pay. Do you pay my bills?
No.
Yeah, it's like
Sorry.
I'm not chasing you down.
This is not a value add. But I did want to come back to what you were saying about like communication. And I think it's really interesting to look at how people communicate when it comes to like divorce and co-parenting and dating, because some people feel like that's none of their business who I date and like who I see and what I do. And I think if it were just about us as adults, yeah, but then there are kids involved.
But if I have kids, it is definitely because
And so
are they going to be around my children?
this was something I know I don't even know if struggled is the right word.
Struggle's not the right word because I didn't allow enough space between us figuring out what was going on with our co-parenting situation before I had a partner. And because I was the first one to have a partner that felt serious, we were just figuring
It was like
it was
very quickly.
Yeah, we were figuring things out along the way.
Yes.
Yeah. And so I like if the roles had reversed, I probably would have hit all the same bumps and bruises just in reverse, because it would have been like, to a certain extent, it's like being the oldest child. Like we're both the oldest in our house. Like you get the worst. Like they stop caring by the third kid.
Yo.
Like they don't like
The things that my youngest brother gets away with
yeah.
is
But
amazing.
like because you're the first one to go through it, you take all the bumps and bruises.
Yeah.
And like all the like, oh, figuring it out. And I think the second person gets to benefit from that. The same way the second kid can be like, ooh, like
Not doing that.
like, or at least I'm not getting caught because like, that's reckless. I think that there's a benefit to that too, where I know there are countless things that I did wrong. And it's part of it is like,
Tell me more.
well, part of it is even not having, so there are like particularities to our situation that make it
A little, yes.
right? So like, for example, Donna knew our children before
Right.
me and her were in a relationship. Like she watched Frozen like with Makari on the couch when she's like, oh, you're here. Right? Like, so I think that's a little bit different. And like I knew Donna since like 2000.
Right. She's not a
like,
new person per se. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think there's something messy about that, right? So it might be somebody that your kids know or they recognize already. If the nature of your relationship has changed,
Then how do you
then like how do you adjust to that? How do you adjust the expectations of your children? And because those weren't my Mary J. Bligeness of like, all I really want is to be happy, right? Like that wasn't that singular focus wasn't letting me kind of zoom out in the way that you need to be like, oh, well,
right, it's
if
not
I'm
just
happy-
me.
Yeah, if I'm happy in this core relationship, this relationship must touch other relationships that are important in my life, and I really need to think about what that looks like.
Yeah.
And so I think that that's a piece that people don't spend enough time thinking about either, right? Like you could have an amazing partner and you guys could be compatible, but that partner could be completely incompatible with your kids and the rest of your family.
Yes.
And what does that mean? And I think there's more of a responsibility than gets explicitly articulated when you're somebody who already has children with somebody else, about just thinking about that, like that part of it. And it's not that it's not that it necessarily is the be all end all in terms of your decision making structure, but it is a different set of considerations.
I'm actually gonna push back on that, and I'm gonna pull some unfortunately really extremely negative circumstances. So I think I've mentioned before, I was a social worker, got a degree in social work, worked at a youth shelter in Philly, and the number of kids who had been kicked out of their homes because they didn't get along with their mom's boyfriend, like that's a real thing.
Oh wow, like people are homeless because they don't.
What in the entire fuck are we doing? Like,
but I don't think those people are co-parenting. I think somebody that's that.
But it's not. It's the combination of things, right? It's the co-parenting conversation, but it's also introducing new people to your kids, right?
Yeah.
And like,
and how somebody needs to be cut immediately if they're not good for your kid.
That like that's not
like,
that's a non-negotiable.
There's no way that my kid is moving out of my house because they don't get along with my.
Like what?
Yeah, that means my partner no longer lives in my house.
And so that's an extreme case, but I do think it's important.
I think that's a really valuable perspective.
to have those conversations. So both, hey, as my co-parent, I'm dating person X, and for me, it was like, okay, this is going well, and I think they might be around, and we might actually be serious or monogamous or whatever you call it, right? Like this is a long-term permanent partner.
Yeah, this somebody's gonna be around.
Who's gonna be around. I can say that I've brought two people that I have dated home.
Around the kids.
Or with the around the kids.
Around the kids.
Yeah, like home around the kids, but also like have met my family.
Yeah.
And I think that it's really important to make sure that you're good and you're not just chasing whatever, because your kids see that. And I knew that for me, I didn't want to be the mom who constantly just had niggas at the house.
Yeah.
Like
different people.
different people.
Different person at Thanksgiving every year.
Right. Like, oh, this person could be your new dad. Like that. And I have friends who, are dating and parents, and I watched them navigate this space. And my concern was, I was like, what is your child seeing when they see this?
And what are they going to think about romantic partnership? And what are they
and what it should look like, right? And like,
yeah.
And so much of that for me has been wanting to establish for my kids, like, yes, your parents are divorced, your dad is remarried, your mom isn't. They know that now especially, like, they know that I date.
Because they're clocking you now. It's different.
I mean, yeah, now it's like a whole.
And I was like,
I went home for Thanksgiving, a year or two ago, and Makari was like, Gigi, says my mom, Gigi, do you want mom? Mom is, and then just
government, first name, last name.
I was like, yo, what is even happening right now? So I did have to have a conversation with her about, like, no, that's not how we get down.
There's messiness.
But I do think, especially as they get older, they see that, right? Like, they see how we navigate our relationship, but also how you navigate relationships with other people. And I wouldn't want to bring somebody into that who didn't understand this dynamic, but I also don't want them to see me navigate the space in a way that's messy.
Yeah. And I think there's a part of it that's important to me, because I think there's, on my side of it, I think my kids deserve to see me interact with their mothers positively. Like, to let them know that, like, no, your mom's still dope. Like, I like her more than I like you little niggas. Like, you wouldn't have been here if she wasn't cool. Like, and like, even with my wife, like, you should know that I find my wife very attractive. Like, you should know that, like, these are the ways that I'm showing affection. These are the way that I'm showing care. Like, that and that in a way it can be a model. Like, hey, I want somebody, like, I aspire as a father. And whether or not my daughters, I can say something controversial that my mom will trip about, but like, I don't care who my daughter's partner with, but I do care that I'm a model of affection.
Good partnership.
Yeah,
yes.
Good partnership.
And that should look consistent, whatever, right? This is whatever your dynamic is, however you date, whoever you date, men, women, both, whatever.
Yeah. Same thing for my son.
Yeah.
Like, I want to be a model of, like, what it means to be a good partner. I don't want him guessing.
Right. And trying to figure it out on his own.
Like, no, like, okay, this is what my dad would have done. And like, that's a reasonable selection from your drop down menu.
So, one of the things that I, obviously we have friends and have had versions of this conversation before. And one of the things that comes up pretty frequently is, how do you think about timing? So, like, when do you introduce your kids to someone new?
What I did or what I should have done?
I'm gonna ask, based on what based on your lived experience, what would you say now?
I think because of my capacity to be partnered and happy quickly, that I would need to wait longer than the normal person.
So like
if
months,
I'm,
3
if
months,
I'm,
6 months?
if I'm picking it with somebody and we're at like the 3 month, 6 month, like, if I'm just basing it on my life history,
okay,
like, usually about the 6 month mark, chicks are trying to move in, or like at least be like, we're around each other so much that, like,
or at your place.
Yeah, exactly. And so, like, then it becomes all right, now this is awkward, because if my children need something, that's my first priority. And even if that requires my space, then they're going to get introduced a little bit earlier than would probably be right.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, my thought about what happens and would happen is like, oh, okay, like, 6 months is starting. If you're with somebody for half a year, you're starting to, like, really be entangled in some ways, in terms of your communication patterns, in terms of how you spend your day, in terms of like how you communicate, like on the phone and all that type of stuff. But I would still want to be like, hey, really, I would have to be kicking with you for a year before.
I think a year too.
Yeah, like before I would really seriously be willing to introduce you and a new dynamic into the life of my kids and my co-parent. Like, I think it needs to be a year.
Yeah.
And that is not based on research that I'm aware of. That's not based on. Yeah, I'm sure that somebody has written about it.
Somewhere. Yeah.
I think that a year is enough time to. You've seen literally 4 seasons of a person. You've gotten a sense of their personality. Hopefully, you're building a lot of communication patterns. And because you should have led with the fact that you have children,
Yeah.
or that at least should be something you can have numerous discussions about, like, hey, what are the hopes about how you interact with them? What are the hopes about the nature of your relationship with my co-parent? What are like, right? You can, it takes time to understand your relationship enough to start thinking,
Adding.
yeah, about what it means to add it in.
Yeah. And I think the other thing too, and I appreciate that we, even when we stumbled and like we're still, and continue to figure things out, I think what our kids have picked up pretty quickly and early on is that we're working to do this well and that we care about them and their well-being. Like,
Yeah.
like our kids know that they're loved.
Yeah, and they're first.
And that they come first.
Yeah.
But I do think that, like, if they were not good, I might be more hesitant to introduce like a new person into that situation.
Yeah.
So I feel like where they are also,
I think that's important. I think the
matters.
needs of your kids, and because I also think about people who are struggling with kids with special needs, or kids who have because your child must take primacy. If you have unique situations, you probably even need a little bit more time to figure it out.
Yes, absolutely. And I think of this as just another version of modeling, right? Like what does it mean when you say you have a boyfriend, and like how do you engage with that person, or a girlfriend, or what a partner, and how you engage with that person. And I feel like for the kids, it's really important to me, especially because my parents didn't talk to me about any of these things.
Yeah.
Right, that there's a certain level of transparency. Not that they know everything, because that's not,
they can't be.
they don't need to.
They accidentally listen to some of your books. They'd be appalled.
No comment.
But I think that, like, that comes down to the respect idea, right?
Yes.
Like, your children should see you interacting with somebody who clearly demonstrates respect for you.
Mm-hmm.
And if we're circling back to where we started, which is about like new partners and new romantic relationships, that should still be the standard.
Yes.
Like, your kids should see you interacting with somebody who clearly respects you, and by extension respects them. Because if you're coming into my life and you're treating my kids poorly, it's not gonna work.
You're not gonna be here.
Yeah, like, it's not gonna work.
It's not sustainable. Yeah. I think it's interesting. Dating at this age is just interesting because, I think we said this before too, right? Like, most of us have some bumps and bruises, like we're a little scuffed up.
Yeah, it's a used car. Like, by this point in your life, you know not to buy new.
Like, got some miles on it.
Like, I need a few miles. I need to, like, the seat don't go all the way back, but it drives like a dream. Like,
and like, I think for me, in the same way that I would pay attention to how somebody talks about their ex-partners. So, oh, that da-da-da versus like, yo, that's a cool person. And like, I'm going to show up for them.
Yeah.
Because they're the mother of my children.
Oh, you're doing it like me, mothers of my children. I never thought that was one of the things I was like, I know that's one of the things that I didn't think I was.
It's not on your bingo card.
Oh, because me and my sister have different dads, and me and my brother, all three of my brothers have different dads. And I was like, yo, I just don't want to. This seems messy. I should not do that. Like, I should not have kids with multiple partners.
Oh, that's so interesting.
And here I am. Right, like, married both times, but still, like,
I mean,
oh,
yes,
man.
at least.
But it's still a thing that you don't, because it, in the same way that we're talking about, it opens up a whole nother set of questions and like things that you got to figure out and things that you got to fit, and things that you don't even consider. So like we were talking recently about, because your work travel has picked up significantly.
Oh my God.
And so when you're gone, obviously me and Donna are going to hold down the fort, but there's some things that you just simply can't do. Like, if you're in a different city and we need the third car to go get a kid because something's like scheduled against something, or which happens
all the time.
I can't tag you in for that. It's just not available. And so that's something that I'm living and that you have to adjust to and that you figure out. But I would have never planned for that. Right? Like,
I'm like, I can't wait to do this.
I have to manage the emotions of 2 women I got kids with. Woo! That sounds fun.
Oh my gosh. Okay, you have to watch. Oh, I hope I don't fuck this up. Steve Trevino.
Who's that?
He's a comedian. He's a Mexican American comedian. And the specific stand-up is I Speak Wife. And I want you to watch it and then call me. In fact, we'll talk about it on the next pod because I think it's in line with the sort of communication, marriage, relationship, dating thing. And I think you would appreciate it. So
It's something we could clip up and put on the show.
Oh, yes.
Without getting sued.
How long can clips be?
I don't know. We need to investigate that before we use it. Because podcasts that I listen to that I like are often using clips, but I never know. And they use music, and I'm like,
yes,
okay, this is a music pod, so you're probably paying whatever
licenses. But some of y'all just like out here riding dirty.
Yeah, and so I don't want to be.
I don't want everybody to come for our pod. But we'll figure it out. But he talks a lot about, his relationship with his wife and his marriage, and they have a kid. And I feel like so much of being in relationship and like a positive relationship is like learning to understand the expectations of your partner, but also being able to communicate, right? To speak the same language. Or at least if you don't speak the same language, I can at least understand what you're saying and like adjust accordingly. Yeah. And I feel like when it comes to dating, marriage, dating, co-parenting, all of it, if you can't clearly communicate, like that's going to be your barrier.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's this, we talk about it. I like to assign crucial conversations to my students as the opening book when we do equity university work. Not because I believe that it's the gospel for how you relate to people, like necessarily because it's written for a broad audience. There's a whole lot of things that they miss. But one of the takeaways from that book is always about like the point of communication is mutual purpose and mutual respect. And so if you've agreed upon the purpose and you respect each other, then communication should flow relatively easily. And you can also kind of reverse engineer how you want to be based on that as a goal.
Right.
Like I think all the time your assessment work, mission, vision, goals, right? Are we doing what we say we want to do? And to me, that's all right, if my purpose for interacting with you, even at the floor, like the most upset I was with you, the most whatever, when we're going through divorce, at the minimum, I was like, she's still gonna be a mother to these kids. So and so I know that we are gonna be and you're not running off with them, you're not going anywhere with them. I'm gonna be a present father. So
that's why I married you.
Yeah. So, but if we know that that's the purpose, then we can start to align our behavior to that, right? Like, hey, this is somebody who I want to have good communication with. This is somebody who I want to be a teammate with as it relates to raising our children. So how do I reverse engineer how I need to show up in that space? And how do I also pay attention to when I feel like there's a violation or when I feel like there's a disruption, and make sure that we talk about that so that we can get back to, this is mutual purpose, this is mutual respect. Because I respect you, I care about your input, right? Like, and you're allowed to have input, even if I have a new partner.
Yeah. Right. And you know what? Even if you don't get along, because I understand that we are coming from a place where we have figured out how to make this work, and not everybody.
It takes two people. It takes two healed people, though.
It does. Yeah. But even if that's not the case, I think it's still important to communicate these things with the person who is the parent of the children that you have made.
Yeah.
And now this also assumes a lot about like how engaged this other person might be. There's a lot of single parents out here, like actually for real single parents.
And also people
like I'm a play single parent.
But people, I think the hard thing too is that people just be choosing bad partners. Like
it's like another pod.
Oh, that's not gonna get into that. I'll dust on it, and I know we want to close.
Yes.
But like my quick sprinkle chef on that is, we all know the friend who goes after the same type of person only to be sad again.
Oh,
right.
Yeah.
And so that's a piece of it too. Like, hey, if you're not healed enough to start making better decisions in terms of who you're trying to partner with,
this is a you thing. Yeah. It's not a everybody else thing.
And you can't possibly be a good role model to your kids if you're out here moving unhealthy.
Yeah. Yeah. Because what are you showing them? I mean, we do it for the kids. At the end of the day, it's about the kids. But thank you guys for listening. We hope that this was helpful. If you have questions or want to hear more about this topic or other parts of what we talked about in the episode, leave us a note in the comments.
Yeah, like, subscribe. And if you think these kind of conversations will be helpful to somebody else, please share it. Yeah. That's the greatest thing, because a big part of what we're trying to do here is have the conversations that aren't being had out loud. and give people some of the tools that we wish we had as we've been getting bumped and bruised by life.
Adulting is so hard.
It's real.
It's so hard.
But to that end, thank you for joining us on another episode of the Parents and Professors podcast.
Peace.
If this conversation resonated with you, do us a huge favor. Like the episode, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and follow us on all our socials. I actually be going crazy on Instagram, so that's the best one.
And please feel free to drop a comment below. Tell us what you liked, what you hated, where you'd like us to dig deeper, or even if you think we missed something. We're always learning and growing, and we want to make sure that we're creating content that resonates with viewers like you.
And most importantly, and this is a huge one, if you know somebody who could benefit from hearing the conversations that we're having on this episode, please share. Sharing is caring. We're doing this for the love and to build a community because it matters.
And at the end of the day, that's the most important part, creating spaces where we can have real, honest conversations about the things that matter to you: education, parenting, relationships, and everything in between.
So thanks for being part of our community. Go check out the catalog of other episodes if you haven't. And we look forward to seeing you next time on the Parents and Professors podcast.